everybody, and welcome to another episode. I guess it's kind of hard to see me with behind all these plants. Hello, welcome to another episode of Angelika's Journal. I am Angelika and welcome. I hope everybody is doing well today. And it's Monday, start of a new week. And I decided some of my house plants, I do have some that are trees. All these four here are trees, along with a few other ones. Actually, yeah, there's only two other ones. Yeah. Anyways, so today we are going to repot these two. Now this one's a rubber tree. Now, it's not your, I don't believe it's the standard one. I believe it's the one that's darker and has red veins. But mind you, some of these don't. But anyways, this is the rubber tree plant. And then this is my Schefflera. It is part of the umbrella tree. Now, I don't know if like those of you who follow me know that I've talked about this one before. It's part of the umbrella, not elephant, umbrella plant. But this is the one with the leaves that are not, like it has the cluster of leaves. Down here you can see there's 5 branches that spread out from the trunk. And that's what an umbrella tree plant has. I think it's 2 to 7. This one cannot even have just 3 branches branching out from the same place. So this is the Schefflera. So it is technically an umbrella plant. Yes, umbrella plant. If I say something else, you'll know what I mean. So this is part of that family. It just does not have symmetrical leaves. If you look at this one, see how the vein is not directly in the middle? There's less leaf on this side than there is on that side. And that is this variety. And this is why I like it. It's different. Same here. See, there's less greenery on this side of the vein going through the leaf than there is on this side. And that's what I like about this one. It makes it unique and different, and that's what I like. Here, same thing. Here it looks somewhat symmetrical, but actually up here, there's a little less on this side. Now, a lot, see here, there's another one. At random, you'll have leaves like that. And that's what I love about it. Now, it is a tree. I did not Google it, and you know me, I usually do my research beforehand, but I'm sorry, I did not this time around. But if I'm not mistaken, that one can grow like 100 feet. Like in the natural wild, it can grow really, really tall. And you can see the cluster of leaves that are forming there. It's ready to grow taller. And then this one's a slow grower. It doesn't have a big root system. Both of these, I could technically leave it in this pot for maybe another year. But I have my Ficus, which is right next to it. It's the other little one. This guy is a Ficus. It's a variegated one. And this guy is a Ficus. It's the green one, the ones you find a lot of time in the shopping malls. And so they need to be transplanted because they are also a tree and they need more room for their roots. There is 1 or 2 roots coming out the bottom. But I don't have any other pots and I don't want to spend money. So I'm going to transfer these 2 into these blue pots. Then I'm going to clean those pots and transfer those 2 into those 2 pots. Now that's all I'm going to do on this video. There are some hanging plants, 3 of them, that need to be redone. And I do have 2 black hanging pots and a white one. Now these 2, there's 2 hangers for it, but this one does not have a hanger for it. So we're gonna make a macrame for it to sit into. But that'll be on a different video. So for this one, let's just get into it. I did put soil on the bottom. It's about 1/3 of the pot because there is a big difference between these pots, but you don't have to fill the soil right to the top. I'm only gonna go to the tallest rim, like the highest rim. That's as far as I'm going to plant this. So according to that rim, there's about halfway of soil. But because those pots are cone shaped, kind of, I am just gonna make a hole, make a hole in the middle by pushing the soil to the sides of the container so that that clump of soil can go right in the middle. And then we're gonna check if the top of the soil is at that rim. If not, I'll add a little bit on the bottom and then put it in again. So one reason why I love plastic pots is because you can squeeze them. The ceramic pots, you can't squeeze. And in order to remove the plant, you need to squeeze it because a lot of time the roots are stuck onto the side of the pot. Now, see what I mean? I knew it. Look at the root system. Can you see that? Like it has a healthy root system. So to repot this, it was definitely time. Now let's see. Yep, it's at the right level. So we're just gonna, and it does make a mess. I guess the garbage bag, I should have had 2. So we're just gonna lift the leaves out of the pot. Make sure that the trunk, you don't care if the soil that was in here is level in there. You don't care because you need the trunk, because this is going to be a tree, so you need the trunk. So look at it from different angles and make sure the trunk is straight. That's all you care about. Then I will push the soil, as you saw, the top of the plant. There was a lot of soil that came off of it. So I am going to push that top loose soil down the side, making sure the stem is still straight. It's a little bit at an angle. If you can adjust it, adjust it. All right. Then you want to reuse the old soil because you don't want it to go through a shock. If you put too much new soil, it will go through a period of adapting, and it's not really a shock, but kind of not what they're used to. So I like to use all the old one as much as I can. And as you know, I do have a corner in the garden that I call my wild garden. And any leftover soil will go in that area, because I'm not going to want to use this soil for any other plant because it is depleted, right? It is not full of nutrients, or not as much as it was. All right, so now okay, so this I'm going to have to now clean before I use it again, because you don't want stuff from one plant. Sometimes plants don't get along, and so you don't want stuff from one plant. And yeah, I know some of you are thinking, oh, that's silly, you know, that has no merit. Well, yeah, it does. It's just like in the garden, certain fruits and vegetables don't like to be around certain other ones. And with houseplants, same thing. Or at least that's what I believe. So you do you. And I am doing it this way. Okay, so now, just because I don't want to waste any soil. Now, this soil I have been known to use in the garden too, because the soil I use, oh, I should have brought the bag up. It's the Miracle Grow soil. When I go to clean the pots, I'll go grab it, because I'll probably pause the video at that point. And then I will go get it so you can see. It's a yellow bag. I'm sure most of you who do this kind of stuff, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to put as much of it as I can. And then we're going to top it up with some new soil, because that way there's new soil in the bottom, new soil on top, plus its old soil is in between. So this is a garbage can that I use for my soil, because a lot of times when you buy a big bag of soil and it's open and you don't use the whole thing, it will dry out. So what I do is I put it in this bucket, and if the soil's dry, I will put a cup or two of water in it, mix it up, let the soil absorb it. Because you don't want wet soil, but you do want the soil to be moist, because that will make it better to absorb water when you go to water your plant. Because if the soil's dry, it has trouble absorbing the water. All right, so now we're just gonna add soil. Make sure it's up to that line. And if I did miss any air pockets in it, when you water it, it will fill in those empty spaces if you have any. And then when it does that, the soil level will go down, and then you just top it up. So it's no biggie. All right, so I'm at the soil level, and I feel like I may be even a 1/4 inch higher than that line, but that's okay. I will water it and see what happens. Okay, so that one's done. I will put it to the side, and now we're gonna do the big one. All right. There's a lot of static cling in this garbage bag. And by not taping it down and just leaving it sitting on the table, you can reuse these garbage bags. You just take it outside, you shake it off, get as much of this soil off, and just reuse it as a garbage bag. You're not really wasting a bag. All right, so now this one again. Soil to the sides of the pot, so there's a hole in the middle, and you want to make it as even around the pot. Like, you don't want a whole bunch of soil on one side and barely anything on the other, because then when you put that ball of soil in here, it's going to go more to one side, and you want it as centered as possible. So when you lift the soil and push it against the side of the pot, try and make sure that it's somewhat symmetrical. Okay, and then we're going to squeeze the pot. Listen for crackling, because if the roots are stuck on the pot, it will make a sound. Nope, nothing. So we should be good. Now, when you repot a plant, never ever repot when the soil is drenched. Rather wait a couple of days for the soil to dry out a bit. Mine is maybe a little too dry, but you do not want to use it when the soil is wet. Oh, this one is almost, the other one has more roots and it's not as tall. But this one has a good root system. There's here, there, There's a bunch up here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then when we put it in, yeah, it's going to be a little taller. That's okay. Just a little taller. Like it has roots on the top, so that tells me rubber tree plants are shallow rooted. So if you keep a journal on your plants like I do, you can add that information to the journal so that you have that information for next time. So when you think about repotting a plant, you can go back to your journal, and there you go. We can make a journal for that. Yeah, make a journal for your plants, and you can document, because they don't need a lot of care. So you can document when you fertilized it, what kind of plant it is, what kind of lighting it likes, and all that cute stuff. Well, I call it a cute stuff because it is. It's the care of a plant, right? And these are your babies. Well, at least they are mine. My kids grew up and left home. So now my babies are not only my grandkids, but my houseplants. Yeah, anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, this one's shallow rooted. So we cleared as much from the top as possible. We tried to center it as much as possible. Now with a rubber tree, it does have the three trees, the three, going up. So you, what was I going to say? Yeah, so you just look at the three of them in a triangle, that is from the center reaching up. And I know I say, watch for this and watch for that and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Plants want to survive just like we do as the human race. And so they're going to adapt. You know what I mean? It's more a cosmetic thing than it is like for the health of the plant. Yes, some things are for the health of the plant, but to have it evenly tall, the plant doesn't care. You could plant it like kinked to the side, and it will reach for the light. If there's a light above it, it's going to reach that way, no matter where their center is, right? So it's not like you have to do it that way. But for visual, I prefer to do it that way. So that my plant looks all nice and pretty and symmetrical, because that's eye appealing in your decor, right? And plants are part of your decor. And an example of that, this is a lot higher than that line. But I guess I could have removed some of the soil from the lower down, because like I said, I had about this much soil. I could have removed some of that soil, but because this is shallow rooted, I'm not going to worry too much about it, because all the roots were on the top and there wasn't much soil on top of those roots. Like right here, maybe later I'll bring the camera in to show you. There are, you know how the roots, there are like roots with bark on it sticking up here. So that is a root from one of these branches or one of these trees. Yeah, so I don't want to cover the root, but at the same time, I want the soil to be like up to that level so that I know the roots are covered, like the feeder roots, I think they're called. Those are covered. And then these, because they have bark on it, I'm not too worried about. So I should not cover this because it has bark on it. Now, some of it is covered, but yeah. And I'm sure even if you did cover it, if the plant didn't like it, it would let you know. All right, so that one's done. I'm going to say it is done. So, I am going to pause the video. I am going to go clean these two. Get that, oh look, there's one lighter than the other. I am going to put that one there and that one on that one. Like I said, clean these pots, go get that soil, and get a jug of water so I can water these, and then I'll be back. I'll see you in a bit. All right, I'm back now. I did go downstairs, grab that bag of soil. This is the one I'm talking about. It's Miracle Grow. Yellow and green bag, Miracle Grow, potting soil. Is that, yeah, potting mix. Grows plants twice as big. More blooms for more color, feeds up to 6 months. So this is the one I use. I always have a bag of this in the house. Ooh. Oh, and the size is 60.5 liter. If you want to know the size, it's a huge bag, 60.5. Now I know it says it feeds up to 6 months, but as you know, I still like to give it nutrients. I don't have them out right now, but on another video, I've done it in the past. You can check some of my older videos, houseplant videos. It has its own playlist. So this is what they put at the bottom of the pot. And if I'm not mistaken, the purpose of that is so that the feeder roots can go underneath where the water is sitting and the nutrients and everything. So when you feed it a bunch of water or nutrients, it settles on the bottom. And this way the plant's feeder roots can go down and drink. And then the other roots stay on top of it. I don't use it. I don't like it. I don't care to have it. Maybe for succulents it would be good, like my aloe vera, or my jade plant, sorry, my jade. Maybe for my jade plant it would be a good thing, but I've never used it. I've always removed them. Even in my hanging planters, they came with them. I removed them, and the plants are fine. They don't need this. In my opinion, it's wasting space that the roots and the soil may need that extra little bit. Like it stands up probably an inch, like these little footings. It's probably about an inch. Like, I don't see the purpose behind it. Just making sure there's no holes. You want to check for holes if you're not putting a tray under it, which I don't for these. Oh, I forgot to, oh, the water. The water is right there. So we're going to give this guy a watering. Remember, we're going into winter, and the house gets very hot and dry in the winter because of the heating system. I live in Canada, and trust me, it gets pretty cold, so our heat system in the middle of winter is pretty high. So these dry out very quickly. Yeah, the soil's a little lopsided, but after a few waterings that'll level out. but it seems to be a good level. And this one too seems to be a good level. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, so I will move these two out of the way. Excuse me. All right, so now we're gonna do these two guys. That one and that one. So, take it out of its cover pot. These two, because they were smaller, I wanted to use a pot with holes in it. Just so that because when they're smaller, you need to control their watering more. But these guys keep drying out. Like, look at this. Every 2-3 days, it's like they're drying out. So I decided, yeah, see, this one has only one root coming out. And this one, you can see the roots, but they haven't come out, but they are on the bottom. So yeah. When you put them in with more soil, they're not going to dry out as much because there's more soil to hold the water. In here, and when we pull it out, we'll see what the roots look like. In here, it's constantly drying out. And winter's coming, the heat system's going to be on, it's going to get pretty dry and warm. And here in southern Alberta, it is dry. So there's not a lot of moisture. There's not a lot of lakes and rivers and stuff. Well, we have a lot, but not where we are. I grew up in Montreal, which is an island in the St. Lawrence River. And it is so humid. It's also lower altitude. It's sea level. It is so humid over there. Elizabeth, who's a friend, she's asthmatic. And when she comes out here, she can breathe so well. But when she goes back home, that humidity affects her breathing. Also, higher altitude is thinner air. It's a lot drier here. Anyways, back to the plants. Yeah, so they dry out pretty quick. And now with winter, it's going to be even quicker. So, let's put, I'm going to say 1 scoop of soil in the bottom. Maybe a half. And a half. Yeah. And just eyeball it. Shake it around so it settles. That one has a little bit more. Just a pinch. That's not a pinch. I know. I use weird words for... Anyways. So now, I'm going to put this here. Yeah, again, I'm going to go up to this rim. That's my goal. But as you saw, I have been known to go higher. But that's my goal. And this is just slightly higher than that. So that's good. Yeah, same with this one. And I'm not going to make too much of a hole. I will make a little hole in the middle, but not too much. Like, I'm not going to pack it on the side. All right, let's start with this one. Squeeze it, squeeze. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, decent root system. Not like congested, packed, but definitely, see here, there's roots. And here there's roots. And then all throughout you can see roots. And the white roots are the healthy ones. If you see any black or brown, those are dead. But white or cream or like a light brown, like a beige, those are good. They're healthy. All right, so now we're going to add soil to this. and then adjust the stem, the root ball, according to the stem. All right, so now this is leaning this way. This one is the main trunk. This is a side shoot. Now, these plants are known to be sold with 3 in 1 pot, and then sometimes they will braid them. I'm not. I'm just letting it grow natural. If it wanted to be braided, it would braid itself, and it does not. Push down a bit. And then we're just going to add soil to the top of the root ball. Yeah, see, when I say I'm only going to, like I'm aiming for this, that's what I'm aiming for. But the plant's root ball dictates how much soil you're going to put in here, right? Because you don't want to put more soil like higher up. The tree has its own top, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like right here, I can see kind of like calcium lime, but not really because it's barely any. That's where it split into 2. Well, when it was in the other pot, this one, I did not see that. I actually thought it was 2 separate plants, but it's not. It's actually one that's been split into 2. So this is the main trunk and this is the side shoot. So if I cover that, that's okay because it was covered in there and it was fine. And if you don't want to, then don't. It's your plant. You do what you want. All right, I am going to add some more. And these are minor details, like plant's not going to die if you put it, like there are some that are super sensitive, but this is a tree. Like imagine in nature when fall comes and they drop all their leaves to the ground and it decomposes and it eventually with time will rise the soil level. So, you know, like the tree doesn't die because the soil level has risen naturally, right? I don't know, I always put the scenario into a different scenario, like this tree. Think of it in different scenarios when you judge as to how much soil you're going to put in it, or, you know, when you're going to repot it. Granted, in nature, they're not restricted because they're not in a pot. But do you know what I'm trying to say? Like I judge it, and sure, I still make mistakes. I'm not an expert. I didn't go to school for this. But you know what? Do what makes you happy and you learn if you're doing it wrong. We're all just constantly learning. Even at 60 plus, you're still learning new stuff. Ooh, I feel the crunch on this one. This one must have a really good root system. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more than the other one. Pretty much the same. The roots are starting to go around in a circle. There's roots all over. All right, so this is the main trunk. This one here. Now, if you want, you could train these trees, these Ficus. Oh, by the way, rubber tree plant is the same family. It's called Ficus something else. So there's actually quite a few. But what I was gonna say, you can put a stick in here so that you make the main trunk go straight. And that's perfectly fine. What'll happen is the plant will adjust accordingly. Like if you make it grow straight and tall like this, then it will start branching out more on this side because there's room here, and here it's kind of crowded. So the plant adjusts. So if you want an absolutely straight trunk, by all means, put a stick in there, nothing too thick where you're damaging too many roots. And now that I'm repotting it, I wouldn't do it now because I would be afraid to damage too many roots and put it in too much of a shock, because replanting a plant does shock them, right? They're not used to being repotted. In nature, they don't get repotted. So I may put a stick eventually, but I won't today. And that's just my choosing. I'm sure there's some people out there that do, like they'll do everything one day and then just leave it be. Yeah, trying to get as much of this soil as I can before I top it up again. Good thing I brought up that bag of soil. Yeah, so don't be too worried about it. Just have fun and make sure, like the base of the trunk, I am making sure it's straight. Now if I put a stick in it, which I probably will because I like a straight tree, if I put a stick in it, because when it builds its bark, that's when, like, when it's making the bark, which it's still a young plant, so this bark is not like hard and formed. But if you train it to go straight, then when it gets about, I don't know, 4 feet tall, you can take that stick out and most likely it will stay like that. Or you can wait till it's 5, 6 feet tall and then take the stick out. By then you probably will have repotted it once or twice. But do you know what I mean? Once that bark is thick enough, it will stay the way it was told to stay. But because it's a tree, and trees are generally slow growing, so it may take a while before it builds that bark, right? And these are trees that are out in nature. You know what? I wonder if I should cut off the top. Just for the sake of this video, we'll just do it quick. Oh, look at that. I have a container in there. I guess for in the garden, I had a container to scoop it out better. All right, that should be enough for now. I don't want any mess. Yeah, look at that. I guess I should clean it. Now, when I use dishes from my kitchen that we use for food, what I do is I wash it with soapy water. Then I let hot water run through it. Sometimes I'll wash it a second time, which this one I might because I don't know how long it's been in here. Then I go and I put it in the dishwasher. So it's being thoroughly cleaned before I'm using it for our food again. Like, I'm not using chemicals. It's soil. And there's soil in the garden that our fruits and vegetables grow from. There's insects out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's not chemicals. If it was chemicals, like even natural fertilizers, I will not reuse them in a kitchen. I'll clean them and then I'll reuse them outside for something else. And I usually, normally, if it's chemicals, I will clean it outside, not in the kitchen sink. But You know, if it's not chemicals that can cause cancer or kill you or whatever, like, I'm fine with it. Anyways, I am going to continue planting this, watering it, and then putting it over there. I don't want this video to go too long. You know how I'm good at that. I don't know if you can see my living room with the light. It is a west-facing window, and because it's a west-facing window, it will glare in the camera at this time of night because it's like 5:30 at night. But I just wanted to show you. There is the, what do you call it? The ZZ plant, my snake plant. And then there is the one we repotted, the umbrella tree. And then, of course, I have the camera the wrong way around now. So there. Now my plan is all that to be just the aloe vera plant on that cabinet. From the mother one, I got 2 babies. Now look at the size of them, and that's been in 6 months. So I'm hoping by spring, hopefully the 3 of them will give pups. I may have to replant the little aloe veras so that they have more room. They'll shoot up some pups. The main one will shoot up some pups. Then we'll repot it and remove those pups, put them in small pots. I am hoping that whole table in the window is going to be full of aloe vera, because I do want to harvest it and make some moisturizing creams. But I can't do that until I have more aloe vera, because I'm going to need quite a few leaves if I'm going to make like 12 jars, or maybe I'll make more. Let people try it and give me their review on it. I do have some recipes, but anyways, that's another video. All right, so then there's my jade plant. It's in a clay pot, and you can see the leaves are dropping. It is either too much sun, which it's never had a problem with that window before, or it's the clay pot. It's drying out too much because we're very dry here. So that's another project. Now, the ones I'm going to repot next are up there. You see, okay, how do I do this? Okay, there we go. So, no, over. Okay, that one. Okay, well, it's probably easier this way. This plant, the Hoya carnosa, needs to be repotted. I have a bigger planter for it. This one, which is my lipstick plant, needs to be repotted. I do have a bigger pot. As I showed you, those 3 pots, 2 black ones and a white one. The 2 black ones are going to go here. They have their own hook. Now, the other one is that one over there, my Golden Pothos. As you know, I gave it a drastic cutback because of the lack of space. But I want to replant it into the white hanging planter. I'm going to put it here, which means I have to untangle all of that to get everything that belongs to this plant so that I can take it down, slide the vine on the floor, bring it to the table, repot it, and then put it back up. So that's going to be the last one. The next one will probably be those 2 hanging ones, those 2, and then maybe the 2 small aloe vera. I'm not sure. We'll repot those. Now, a problem I have with these planters, whoops, let's go down. There we go. Okay, so this white planter did not come with the chain to hang it up. So we're going to do a video on how to make a macrame too, so that this can go in the macrame and then I can hang it up with the macrame. So that's everything houseplant related. It's going to be the 2 hanging plant repotting. Then there's going to be another one with the Golden Pothos, because that's going to be a big job. Unless I prep it beforehand, then I could do it all together. Possibly the aloe vera, I'm not sure. So 1 or 2 repotting of houseplants, plus how to make a macrame for this thing. So those are videos coming up. Not necessarily the next one, but they are on the list of videos to do. So on that note, I will let you go. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to do what makes you happy, and everything else will fall into place. And I will see you on the next one. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Feel free to let me know what you'd like to see. I think with all my videos so far, you get an idea of what I'm about and what I like to do. So if there's any specific videos you'd like me to make or explain something, feel free to make a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Or even just let me know where you're watching from. All right, everyone, take care. See you on the next one.